Hello there, and welcome to another session solving tactics on chesstempo.com with the advocate. Let's go ahead and get started. Down two exchanges. So, knight check here, king goes to d2, queen d4 check, king would go to c1, and I'm not seeing a follow-up there. What about knight check, king goes to d2? I mean, the problem is my queen is pinned to my king after the revealed check. So if knight check, king d2, I'm kind of boned. I can play queen takes, but then rook takes e1 with check. So I was thinking like knight check, king d2, queen check, rook takes, and then I can pick up the queen, and I'm two pieces for a rook. However, the problem with that is knight check, king d2, queen takes e1 check, and then rook takes a1 with check. Probably getting mated shortly after. There's also queen takes h2 check. Queen takes h2 check. If king here, I'll have checkmate. If king here, I'll have this check, which is mate. Yeah. Okay, so queen takes h2 check. If king d1, queen d2 mates. If king f1 is not possible, so if king e3, basically everything is queen d2 checkmate. Yeah, after every move, there's queen d2 checkmate. Queen d2 mates, and king d1, queen d2 mate. Mistakes made in this position. Knight c5 check, yeah. So the problem with knight c5 check, this is a line that I considered, trying to get two pieces for the rook. First of all, you have to understand that that is an equal or a lost endgame because of these two passed pawns. So even if you did get two pieces for the rook in this position, you're still probably losing. However, the problem is after king d2, your queen is pinned to your king. And after queen takes here, you don't have time to recuperate the queen because of rook takes e1 with check. That's the problem with that. All right, how did I solve that? Just viewing the available checks that I had in position. Queen h2 check. All right. This is not a real threat, is it? Currently, everything is covered. So if I were to play queen c3, I would be fine. If I were to play queen c4, if I played queen c4, rook takes check, bishop takes, then there's no follow-up. There's no follow-up check. Queen b1 check, but I'm not certain what the point would be. Obviously, I'd love to play queen d1 check, but that's not happening. So there's queen b1 check, there's queen c4, queen b5. Ooh, what about queen c4 trying to get at this pawn and threatening the check here? Ah, yes. So queen c4 threatening the rook and hitting h4. And after, if queen takes h4, king g1, there's bishop check, king f, and then queen h1 checkmate. So he would need to move the rook somewhere. Where would he move the rook? Well, I mean, he can take on e7, but that does nothing. Rook takes e7, bishop takes e7, and there's no follow-up. I'm still threatening h4. And now also bishop e5. So queen c4, rook takes is not a defense I'm worried about. Rook e1, queen check picks up the rook on e1, and then would win the queen. So what else could he do? Alright, next problem. Mistakes made in this position, queen b1 check. Yeah, I was examining. This is a weird problem. Just the quiet move, it's difficult to see. But yeah, queen b1 check just doesn't do anything. And you have to come back to cover e6 because this check is coming. I mean, obviously it can't be played here, but if in any other position, if you don't move your queen back to cover that square, then this check could hurt a lot. Or something like this. I put a little bit of black pepper in my tea, which perhaps not the best idea. Okay, one problem here is I face after any check. Well, what about check? The king would be forced to f6, and then is bishop d4 checkmate? Check. cutting off all of these squares, cutting off all of these squares. So the king is forced to f6, and then after bishop d4 check, the king has nowhere to go. He must give up the rook, and then I'll just take with mate. Good one. That's a good one. I really like that problem because the same reason that I dismissed the problem is the reason why the problem works. Mistakes made, queen d6 check. Queen d6, d6, yeah, queen d6 check. And then here, revealed check. Queen f3 checkmate. Next problem. This knight pinned to the queen. This knight pinned to the rook. But no, my bishop covers. So is there any way to make use of that? Knight takes g2. Rook takes e8. And then I can play knight h4. But then he just moves his rook away. And I've lost the exchange. But if after rook moves away, I could play queen takes d2. Queen takes d2. Knight f3 check. This knight still pinned to the king. So knight g2, rook takes e8. Knight h4, threatening queen takes d2. And he can play rook e2. Covering. What if I played knight d1, hitting the queen? If rook takes e8, I'll take the queen. If rook takes d1, I'll take the rook. That looks promising. He has no checks. Check here, I'll take it. Check here, I'll take it. Take it. If he hits my queen, I'll take his queen. He takes mine, and then I'll play rook takes e1. So knight d1, rook takes, bishop takes, and then is there any follow-up? Knight f3. I can just go away. Maybe queen f6, hitting the knight on d4, pinning this knight to the queen so that way after bishop takes, if knight takes, I can play queen f2. Also, after knight f3, there's queen c1. Okay, next problem. Mistakes made in this position, knight takes g2. Yeah, knight takes g2 was the first move I looked at, and it was because of this. I'm threatening queen takes d2, queen takes d2, knight f3 check. So if the rook moves to any other square, I can play this. Family fork. I'm 2 pieces for the rook. But I decided that after rook e2 there was nothing to continue. After rook e2 there's nothing to continue. So I gave up on that line. Let's do one more. So obviously knight check wins the rook. Is there something more? Well, knight check doesn't win the rook because bishop takes e2. But if I play rook a6 first, rook a6, queen a6, knight check. So I'm down the exchange, and then I go up a full rook. So that means I win a piece. Was I already up material here? 2 rooks? No. So I give up the exchange. Yeah, I was up material here. Was I not? 2 rooks, 2 rooks. Piece, piece, queen. No? Alright, so I go down the exchange, and then I win the full rook. Now I'm a rook up. Okay. Alright, let's take a look at wrong moves and then call it a session. Mistakes made in this position, knight e2 check. Yeah, the immediate knight e2 check fails to bishop takes e2. Knight e2 check, bishop takes e2, queen takes e2, and you have nothing. I actually saw rook takes a6 before I saw knight e2 check, forking the king and the rook. The first move that I saw in this position was rook takes e6 because it seemed like the most forcing move. Then I saw the knight e2 was a fork, and I just combined those two together. Alright, that's it for this session. I hope you learned something, and you will hear me next time. Until then, take care, and good luck with your chess journey. Bye.